And welcome to today's Road to 50 Million. Today, I want to talk about express. So, the last couple of days, I talked about believe and then forgive. Express is the conclusion of the trilogy. Why would I pick those three words and what difference does it make? Well, it may make no difference or it may make all the difference. So, let's talk for a minute about what we're trying to do. My goal for these videos is to help you, if you want to discover, to develop, serve with your divine gifts, to discover them and to serve with them. And developing, of course, is a natural course. So discover them, develop them, serve with those gifts. And in the process, my experience is you'll create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. That means you'll love every day of your life. That means every day is exciting. That means you'll make all the money you want to. You can build business. You can deal with hardships and challenges. If you discover your gifts and you make a choice to serve with them. I just got off a call with someone who is a client and who also I've hired to do some creative direction work with some videos. And we were talking about a series of events in his life that led, some of which could be viewed in isolation as negative things, costing a lot of money or possibly, wasting money. You could think of it that way. But if you look at it in totality and you say, okay, these things happened, everything that happens is an opportunity to learn something if you want it. Right? Like you can choose to take every event. So anyway, as we talked through this, we were talking both about his own personal journey and then about the work that he's doing for me. And I can't wait to see some of it. And he's excited and I'm excited. And it's going to be some fabulous video. One of the things I'm doing right now to do what I just said, what I'm here to help you do is to discover your gifts and then to serve with them. Remember, the reason is that creates a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. If you know for sure what your gifts are and you love and serve those around you, you can't help but feel and find purpose. You can't help but create prosperity, prosperity in cash, prosperity in relationships, prosperity in inner peace, prosperity in every way that makes an important difference. So that's what my road to 50 million is. I'm committed, because I said so, to help 50 million people to discover their gifts, to admit they have them, to grab them, to develop them, to use them in service of others. One of the gifts that I have is speaking, and that's why I'm doing this. One of the gifts that I have is being on video. I know how to do that well. One of the gifts that I have is music and song. I write books, and all those things are just mine. But you have your gifts, and that's what this is about. This whole road to 50 million is just a chronicling of the work that I'm doing to help you, 50 million of you, discover and serve with your gifts. So today is the third of a trilogy. We started with believe and then forgive and express. And if you want those others, you can go back and listen to them. If you don't believe you can do anything, you won't. So let's talk about the World Cup. There were some upsets, some teams that were expected to be as far as we are now. The finals, I think, are Saturday or Sunday, and it's Argentina and France. France was the champion last year. Yesterday, I watched a valiant game between France and Morocco. And Morocco was valiant, and they had plenty of opportunities to score. They just couldn't quite convert it, much to the dismay of my dear friend Sarah Adnani, who's, I believe, Moroccan and just held an event there a few months ago. But anyway, she was just talking about millions of people who now believe that this is possible. Because I think this is the first time an African nation has been this far in the World Cup. And now there's millions of people who believe that that's possible. Not just in soccer for that thing, but I know that ignites a fire in people because now they believe other things are possible. More stuff than they thought was possible just before that. So because these 11 players, and I know there's some on the bench, so 25 players or however many they have, those people did the work and got that far in the World Cup, millions of others now believe in things that were not considered possible. Now, that's what belief does. Believing is the foundation. Believe, ask the question, what else could I do? What is actually possible here? Well, you know what? You don't know, and neither do I until we try. So before you say, well, I don't have any gifts, and before you say, well, I don't know what to do with them, and before you say they're not important and nobody cares, why don't you discover fully what they are? And why don't you decide, just because you can, you're going to pour your heart and soul into serving with those gifts? Maybe your gifts are painting, writing, speaking. Maybe they're just being nice. Maybe they're listening to people in a way they've never been listened to before. You know what? People pay a lot of money for that if you're interested in the business side of it. There is no gift that you have that can't be turned into a business if you want to. A business isn't the only way to use your gift, but we all have to eat. And one of the things that people often express to me, and I have tons of podcast guests that say, you know, ability to make a living, make a good living, and help people is the ideal for them. Using things they love to do and get paid for it. Ooh, that's like woo, that's like the cherry on the on the dessert, right? Well, you know what? It's not that hard. What's hard is the courage that it takes to do the steps. Nobody fell up the mountain. Nobody that you see who's serving with their gifts and making the money, good money, or even just enough to have a decent living. Not a billion, not billions, but just enough to really get by and get by well and love and serve and living in that life that they love every day. You can have that if you want it, but you're not going to fall up that mountain. And so my commitment this year with the 50 million, and why I'm doing these videos every day, is to help 50 million people to discover and to serve with their gifts. And that includes business if they want it. So my invitation for this 3-part series, today's part 3, was this. Believing was the first part. The second one yesterday was forgiving. Because there's going to be tons of times when you get angry with yourself, angry with others, angry with God or the universe, because things didn't go well for you. Somebody dissed you. Some bad thing happened. How could this possibly happen? Why is this happening to me? How many times have you said that? I don't know, but probably a lot. It doesn't matter. The guy I was just talking to this morning, it doesn't matter that these things happened for him in the last few weeks where he felt like it cost him a lot of money. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. There is a way to learn from that and go through it and keep going, or there is a way to be crushed by it and decide you're destroyed and you can't move forward. Okay, either way, this is your call. And there's days when we all get discouraged, depressed, smashed down. I know that. The question isn't, will that happen? The answer is, of course it will. The question is, what are you going to do when it does? That's all that matters. Because whether you're sick with COVID or you lost all your money or somebody ripped you off or your partner left you or you think you don't have anything, all those things are normal human experience. And the thing that matters for me and you and the road to 50 million is, what are you going to do with that experience? One of the things I love about my podcast guests is almost everyone has a story. And the story is, this happened to me. Addiction, incredible child abuse, sex trafficking, drugs, financial reversals. I can't even begin to list them all. And if I knew I was going to give this list, I would have made it. But unbelievable amount of stuff, physical violence and all kinds of stuff. Yet here they are in my podcast, not to complain about that thing, not to say how unfair this was, even though they might have thought it at the time, not to say, I don't have the advantages because this crap happened to me. But everyone says, it happened, I learned from it, and I'm so grateful I wouldn't trade it. Hear those words, I wouldn't trade it. I even say that. I was in and out of rehab, all kinds of terrible addictions and failed relationships, and I died here 4 years ago and wrote a book about that, meeting God at the door. If you want to read about a near-death experience, which of course I never expected to have. But all those things have happened to all my guests. And you know what? They're telling me I wouldn't trade them. I wouldn't trade them. Why? Because it's made me who I am. Now, you may have a similar story. Your version of you is whatever it is. You've been through whatever you've been through. The question today is, are you willing to take that experience and turn it into raw power? Are you willing to turn it into love and service and kindness and blessing? Why? So you can serve those around you. Because you and I as humans, we're built to love and serve each other. That's how our internal biology and chemistry works with neurotransmitters. That's how our spirit works. That's how we feel most connected to humanity and the divine, is when we're doing good and helping people. Everybody who I talk to tells me that. What do you want to do? Well, I want to do something to help people. I hear that 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And then the fun part is to dig in. Well, what does that mean? Who would you help? How would you help them? And that's part of turning it into a project. Now, you may want to just turn it into a service project and you're not interested in making money. But if you want to help very many people, you got to learn how to make money with it, because it takes money, energy, and effort to spread your service very far. I mean, you can love your neighbor and do it in the cracks when you're in between making a living and dealing with life. And that's wonderful, and I'm not saying anything about that. But if you want to have a larger impact, then you need to figure out how to leverage what you do, what you've experienced, what you've learned. Leverage it can mean a ton of stuff. Maybe you speak at Toastmasters. Maybe you write a book. Maybe you work in your church. Maybe you do all kinds of stuff. But do it on purpose. Leverage your experiences, leverage your growth. Or don't. My commitment here with my road to 50 million is to help 10 million people to intentionally, who want to choose to serve with their gifts, with the bitterness and learnings of their experience. I'm here to help you learn, if you want to choose to do that and create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. My commitment to 50 million this year, and my year started in October. I say that because people are thinking, New Year's is coming. Are you done yet? No. My year started October 14th. I'm going to help 50 million people to discover and serve with their gifts and create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. I have all kinds of ways, different ways that I can do that, but I can't do anything unless I get a chance to meet you and love you and see what's going on and visit about how we might do that thing. So my invitation is 3 parts every time I do this. Number 1, you may already be living a life that you just absolutely love, a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And if you are, I want to talk to you. I love to know more people like that, to just surround myself with people who have made the choice to end addiction to mediocrity, to end living with what's easy and obvious, and instead to magnify and serve with their gifts. So I'd love to meet you. Reach out, please, Facebook Messenger or whatever. That's the one I use most. I realize there are others, but reach out and let's chat. Okay? Get on my list, yourultimatelife.ca. Let's communicate. I love to know people that are doing that. Second invitation. Most people I meet don't say they're living their ultimate life. When I ask them, are you living life like you want? Nearly everyone says, no, not yet. No, not yet. Working on it. On the way. Not there yet. Well, I want to help you get there right now, because happiness and joy you can have today. You don't need to wait. It's not I'll be happy when. I used to do that all the time. Well, I'll be happy when I get all this done, and this many books written, and this much money, and this and this and this and this. And that means forever we're waiting to be happy. Joy is today. Happiness is today. Love is today. And you know what? Living like that lets you create more, feel better, and life is just more beautiful starting today. So if you're not living the kind of life you want and you'd like my help, maybe you want to do it on your own. That's fine. But if you'd like to be one of my 50 million that I help, I'd love to talk with you for that reason. And the third person group of people I want to invite is I need some help. Reaching 50 million, I don't know how to do that yet. I've got a television show on a big network I'm producing, and it's going to go on for the entire year and maybe longer. I've got this podcast that I'm doing, 700 and something episodes. I've got 2 more interviews tomorrow. I've got these series I'm doing. I'm writing books. I'm a coach. I help people do all kinds of stuff. I've got coaching programs. Any of those things might help. But if you can help me reach my 50 million, I want to talk to you for that reason. So if you're already doing purpose, prosperity, and joy, I want to know you. If you want my help, I want to know you. And if you can help me reach my 50 million, I want to talk to you. Reach out. And if I don't see your message the first time, reach out again. Don't give up and assume I don't want to talk to you. I do. If you're not friends on Facebook, you have to friend first. Otherwise, your message goes into that other basket that I don't see all the time. So I love you. I encourage you. I know your power. I know where you came from. And I want to honor and acknowledge you and your gifts right here, right now. Express yourself fully. That's how you serve. Love and be all you are. We'll see you tomorrow.